And I think we're live. Hey, Jamie. Hi, everyone. First of all, my name is Mike Silva. This is with me, Jamie Marshall, this is the Big Beautiful Baseball Bash review / preview show. Please, if you're on the YouTube broadcast, ValManiac44, if you could just let me know that you can hear us. Jamie, you say something so in case.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go.
I'm sorry, yeah.
So if anybody's on the YouTube broadcast right now, I'd appreciate just a little comment if you can hear us or not, just because I'm a little paranoid about the sound, the audio. Okay, perfect. Thank you, ValManiac. Appreciate it. So, Jamie, so here we go. We're going to get into the tournament details and the status and the review of all the grand project that we've started. This is and also happy Bash Day. This is the 1 year anniversary of the day that I came up with the idea to do this tournament. So
it's hard to believe that, it seemed like it was going to be forever before we got to this point.
Oh man, I know a lot. I'd say pretty much consistently 2 to 3 hours a night doing this. Not every night, obviously, but but consistently
several times a week for sure.
And also like the amount of prep time for each bracket was quite a bit too. So anyway,
I was gonna say, I was thinking earlier too, like over that year, all the different holidays that went through, like we went through 4th of July, Halloween, and Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, it's been a pleasure doing this whole project. Jamie, you've been there pretty much the whole time. Since the beginning.
It's been super fun to watch it.
Right. And, also Jamie's the man behind all the AI, the videos and the stories and he does all the research, digs deep and comes up with the stories. A lot of stuff is not AI. A lot of stuff he writes himself, I think, some of it at least. And then, Jamie's the one who puts out the media and brings this thing to life. So
all the graphic stuff is all AI. I don't.
All I do is click buttons on my mouse and say, all right, let me put this team together. Let me just hit the next play.
That's other than you constructed the entire tournament.
Yeah. So hey, Bernie. Yeah, Jamie is pimping himself out to all the major streams in this hobby. I think lately, every day I'd get on, I'd say, "Wow, Jamie's on Box Scores in the Basement. Wow, Jamie's on this. Jamie's on that." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm, here I am, just like sitting here. That's okay. So anyway, so just to get started, I have behind on the screen here is a video that Jamie had made. I'd like to, and it's a couple minutes, so I'd like to play it and just to get into the spirit of the tournament.
And just for the record, the music is AI generated.
Yeah, it's AI generated music.
The lyrics aren't all AI generated.
Hopefully, YouTube doesn't end the stream, but if
but it does officially count as original music.
Right, but it does sound original. I mean, it sounds like it. But let me give this a play, and hopefully you guys all enjoy it. So just I'm just gonna go back, remove us from the thing. And I'll talk during it if we want. Jamie, you can narrate if you want. If you don't want somebody to miss something.
Oh, okay. There'll just be little flashes of things they can look for.
Everybody get around. Let me tell y'all about the wildest thing ever. It's called Bash Ball. Not one league, not 1 year, not one small hall. It's over 2,000 teams plus. But in the end, only one can stand tall. From dead ball dust to the long ball flight. From black and white box scores to the stadium lights. From Root to Robinson, from Gibson to Gwynn. Every age steps up in the Bash rolls in. You got Pinnock, winners, Motors, Legends, long shots. Teams that came in blazing, teams that got hot. Old time flannels, pullovers, polyester class. Whoa! We're talking Bash Ball, where the greats all meet and the underdogs brawl. Bash Ball! Yes, Bash Ball. One sim to rule them all. That's Bash Ball. That's Bash Ball. You got Earl Wilson. Wilson kneeling, Hack Wilson mashing. Cop talking loud and the bass runners dashing. Mandolin the shadows, maze in the sun. That's some club from 1919, still getting it done. You got heartbreak, upset, stick and punch pride. A favorite gets flipped and the whole room goes wild. A sweet out of nowhere, a game 3 scare. And the team nobody picked is suddenly there. The final 32, that's a beautiful sight. 32 survive and still ready to fight. After all those rounds and all those names, still move for one more team to etch its fame. Bashball! We're talking Bashball, where the old park's live and the legend still call. Bashball! Yes, Bashball. Every era steps alive in Bashball.
All right. Well, that was great. That's pretty much the end of the song.
I mean,
and it was pretty cool. I love that song.
But the story of the bash is in there, you know.
Yep. It mentions all the good. I love the pictures with the chains. I think that's hilarious. Ty Cobb and Mickey Mantle and Ted Williams. They got their little rapper pose. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's right. Babe. I'll just show the Babe looking fresh. Should have had actually. Now that I mentioned, now that I think about it, it would have been cool to have like Flavor Flav like hanging with them, like with their arms around a couple of the guys.
But then we're crossing the copyright stuff. I don't know how that works.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through. I want to explain about the bash and just kind of give it a quick run through for those who missed. It's funny enough, if you look at my I'll show you how many times I'm on this YouTube thing. If you look at my last video, it's pretty much 5 months ago. We were at a halfway point between in the 64 team brackets. We were 16 brackets through 32 of them. So I made a halfway show. So if you watch that, which I don't think many people did, then you might some of this might look familiar. But what I'm going to do is I have a PowerPoint presentation to go through just to review some of the highlights and the stats and data from what the bash has been completed so far. So let's get started with that. And let me just share my screen. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to share. That's going to, for a second, it's going to, 1 second. Sorry. I'm not really a pro at this. So I'm just going to share this. It's going to look kind of funny at first. All right.
This is the 21st century version of showing you our slides from vacation.
So can you see this, Jamie? Oh,
yep.
Okay. All right. You can see this on the thing. Okay. So here's the 64. It's full screen, right? Because you don't see the slides on the left, right?
Right now they should just see us on the left and your slide in the middle.
Oh, did I have hold on 1 second. Let me close that. Sorry, I meant to do full screen. My fault.
Yeah, full screen probably would be better for the slides.
How's that now? Is that full screen without us?
Yeah, you're full screen.
All right. Nobody wants to see me while we're doing this. All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna so here's a 64 team bracket 1 to 32 review. Not reviewing every bracket, but we're just gonna kind of go through some of the highlights. So just to touch on the rules here. So we had a 2,676 teams total from 1901 to 2024. I started this before 2025 was completed, so that couldn't use those years. So the idea is to get. So we had to start with 2,676, and the idea was to get down. We had to get down to 2,048 teams to be able to create 32 64 team brackets. So I had to have play-in rounds, 2 rounds total. Each round I took the bottom ranked teams, which I ranked from regular season winning percentage from the top to the bottom was for every.
This is what he thinks is not a big deal. He seeded every single team from 1901 to 2024.
Right. Well, all I did was I went to Baseball Reference for every season and copied the.
But yeah, without seeding it, I mean, it made all the difference, I think.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I do have a spreadsheet. I can maybe show that at some other point. But anyway, so we had 628 teams play in the first round. So basically, that's 314 games, and that eliminated 314 teams. And then we had to play the next lowest 314 teams versus have games between those it's another 628 teams, and the winners of that made it into the final the 64 team brackets, the 32 64 team brackets as the lowest seeds possible, like 16 seeds. So we have the 2,048 teams. I set up the main brackets, best of 3 series for each round of each bracket. Think of it as 32 March Madness brackets. We had 64 teams, 4 regions. We had 4 number 1 seeds per bracket, and it goes 1 to 16 in each region, right? So same thing as March Madness. Game rules, just at a high level, 1980 strategy settings were used in OOTP for every game. Jamie and I had picked this just as we had just figured it was probably an even year to use with stats. It's all right, Jamie, no problem. His dog's a big Bash fan too. So
yeah, say late at night.
But the 1980, strategy, 1980 pretty much was, it was a pretty even balanced season to use. They had all kinds of stuff: stolen bases, defense, pitching, hitting. So, and that's what we decided to use. And we also had no stinking DH in this Bash tournament.
Yeah, we wanted a clean game.
Yep, clean game. Every pitcher was going to hit that pitch. Oh, that's
and the 1980 too. The only thing it changed is it just made all the context of all the stats are within 1980.
Yep.
But that way also it balanced out because some teams are more from eras and more speed based, some are more power, so nobody got like an extra advantage. Everybody They got boosted up or boosted down at different areas.
Right. Now the next section here is complete. I have a nice big red complete because that was a big milestone in this, and that's the 32-64 team brackets. Just breaks down the number of teams. So for the round 1, all the round 1s, 2040 down to 1024. Teams that made it through the round 2 brought it down to 512 and 256 to 128. And in the final of each, all the finalists of each bracket added up to 64 teams. And now all 32 brackets are completed, which brings us to 32 teams. The 32 winners of each bracket are moving on to the final 32, which we're going to get to as soon as we get through the rest of these slides. And then basically what's going to happen is same thing, best of 3 series for the final 32 team bracket. And we're going to have 5 rounds, 7, 8 quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals to determine the champion. So that's basically the rule set in a nutshell if you haven't really been following or you kind of were just curious. All right. So the next thing, I'm just going to show some key milestones and progress updates. Basically, this was in the in mid-season. This is a running list of all the bracket winners, and I've been posting these, and Jamie's been posting these on his Facebook, and I've been putting it on various places.
When I saw a question about streaming the games, we haven't all the brackets we didn't stream. I mean, we streamed between ourselves on Discord, but all the final games, Mike's going to stream them on his channel.
Right here, right in this spot. We're going to play every game out. So yeah, so basically what we did here, I guess I can get into this, but this is the bracket winners. And Jamie created all of these tickets that were punched for each of the bracket winners. I think that's a nice touch. And, I created this little tracker, the list of winners. I kind of think of it as an ode to the old Micro League Baseball box for the Commodore 64. I always had that box would have the game in it when I had a Commodore way back in the day. And I always loved how it had the logos along the edge and this. So I kind of this is a little tribute to that, So the logos on here are just random. There's no.
We always refer to this as the poster.
Yeah, the poster. So yeah, I definitely want to have. I think for myself and maybe Jamie, definitely would like to just have a poster or something.
Yeah, we're gonna have a poster made of that for sure.
Pretty cool. And these are the MVPs for each series, for the final series for each thing. So you can see Frank Schulte's the only 2-time winner.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So this is something to look at. It's pretty nice. And
there's several teams that won, or not teams, but franchises that have 3 teams in it, but nobody had 4.
Yep, we're gonna get to that too as well. This is just something I like to see because it's all the major upsets and standout performance. So first major upset, it's a 15th seed, 2000 Baltimore Orioles. They won bracket 4. They went all the way, unbelievable. And they had a 74 and 88 regular season record. Somehow they ended up winning the bracket. I mean, I can post the bracket at some point, but they beat the 87 Tigers, 83 Pirates, 73 Orioles, 95 Mets, 1914 Cubs, and the 2001 Indians to win the bracket. So pretty interesting. That's definitely the best, and I think it's the only team in the final 32 that actually had to win in the preliminary round to get to where they are. So they were actually one of the teams that was in the preliminary round 2, I believe.
Yeah, they're the only one. You're right. Yep.
So, and then if you see here, this list is all the number 16, all the 16 seeds that upset number 1 seeds in the tournament. So you can see that 2023 Braves, 11 Giants, 15 Tigers. I'm just trying to look through some, all those teams that lost. Those are all number 1 seeds that probably were, deserved a better fate than that when you consider what, the teams they were, except for the 2020 Dodgers, because the COVID season we didn't care much about.
Yeah, we were kind of cheering whenever they lost.
Yeah, we didn't root against or for any teams, but I think when it came to 2020 seasons, just because there's only 50 games and the whole nature of it, we're just like, if they don't make it, that's fine with me.
It's not memorable.
And what else? We got the 2009 Yankees they were a World Series winner. 28 Yankees, 98 Braves, all these teams, 42 Dodgers. So a lot of these really, really good teams, they got ousted by other not so good teams, but that happens, right? So, out of 128 128 1 seeds, 16, this many of them were lost in the first round. So,
and one thing we kind of noticed too, I mean, it's not the case in all these games, but in a series, even a bad team, they still have one good pitcher. So if their good pitcher beats the other team's good pitcher, it puts the pressure on. So it definitely
exactly. Yeah, I mean, even a terrible team we found usually has at least one good starter. So if they can win that one game, that gives them a shot. All you have to do is win one more, out of 2.
Yeah,
so
then it makes it game 3. So yeah.
So and then a couple errors here and there, and that number 1 seed's out. See you later. All right, here's the all-time Bash standings as we sit here. You can see the sheer number of games is like mind-boggling how many games were played. Now, just to remind people, I didn't play every game out every inning. Every game was played, but the innings, the first inning was played out, like we watched the first inning of each game, and then we would sim on OOTP. You can sim half an inning at a time. So I just click, all right, sim half inning, half inning, half inning, half inning, kind of fly through it, unless there was some really ridiculous inning where we saw like 11 runs scored. Then we'd stop and look at the box score for a second, see what happened.
Yeah.
But we'd get up to the 9th inning, and then we'd play the 9th inning, and then if there was extra innings, we'd play the extra innings. So
it was still pretty dramatic because we could see.
Oh yeah,
we could see the scores changing. As it going. It was kind of like looking at your phone. If you're following the game along.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as time, obviously it's taken a year to get here. So I mean, you can see the number of games at the bottom, the grand total. So 5,645 games were played so far.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the final 32 categories. This is all by franchise, by the way. So no franchises has more than 3 teams in the final 32, but there's quite a few franchises that don't have any teams in the final 32.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers, namely of note, the Dodgers, Phillies, and Tigers.
Yeah,
are the ones that they pretty much have the most games without having a final 32 team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to tell them, Jamie, about the Phillies.
The Phillies. They made it to the finals, I believe, 4 times, and the semifinals 6 times. So.
And they did not win.
So 10 other teams made it at least to the semifinals, and they couldn't get it. Then we had a kind of running joke with the Tigers too, because they kept what we call it's basically the Elite 8. We call it the logo round. They kept getting teams there, and they just couldn't get. I mean, they actually did get a few times past it, but they couldn't win it. But they put so many teams that made it into the Elite 8, and they couldn't get a team into the finals either.
Yep.
But then
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, then you have like a team like the Padres that got in, or the Rangers. They got.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so that's just the whole fun of it.
Oh, it is. Yeah. The Orioles obviously had that 2000 Orioles team to add to the 2 really good Orioles teams that made it. So,
yeah.
The logo round, as Jamie mentioned, just want to mention that's just a name I kind of gave it. It's like I think it's the 4th round of every bracket, only because when we finish a bracket and we kind of present everything out and posted the results online, I would add the logos to the bracket, but I couldn't really fit any of the logos anywhere in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round because everything's so bunched up. So I wouldn't add the logos in that bracket to the teams until the 4th round. So I said, oh, they made the logo round. So if they win the third round, they get to have their logo on the bracket, So I thought that was kind of cool. So cool enough where even in OOTP, when I set up that bracket on OOTP, I would even spell it out the logo round. So even on the game, it would say, and the Tigers go to the logo round.
Yeah, so if you hear it mentioned logo round, that's what he's talking about.
So yeah, you're halfway, basically you're more than halfway through the bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, the Tigers had a lot of teams there, and still, just couldn't do it. I'm not saying, and believe me, I would say I was kind of rooting for the Tigers.
Yeah, near the end, we were kind of rooting for all the teams.
Yeah,
the big franchises that kept close.
And believe it or not, the Braves were in the same boat as the Tigers and the Phillies and the Dodgers, except the Braves won the final bracket.
Yeah, so they made it in at the last minute.
2023 Braves, I think, right?
No, I think it was 22.
22, sorry.
They're also the only team from post 2020.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The only modern.
Yeah, the most modern team. Yeah,
unless you count 2008 modern, which I do because I'm old. So
yeah, anything past 2000 I consider modern.
Okay, so this is the standings. Enjoy those, and just the number of games I think is fun enough to look at, and the number of what teams are in the final 32. And this is an interesting graphic that Jamie came up with. It just shows you the breakdown by franchise.
Yeah, this is like where you can see.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so we were saying before about the Phillies. Hopefully I can see it clear enough. You see where it says F for final. You can see that they made it 4 times, 6 times to the semifinal. And then what some other teams said. The Chicago White Sox were kind of interesting too. They had a run of teams in the 40s who some were good, some were not so good, but for some reason the ones that weren't so good played over their heads. So they had like a 5-year run where I think 3 of their teams either made it to the finals or semifinals.
Yeah.
And then of course obviously the Yankees, they had 19 Elite 8 appearances, and so let's see, was it the Yankees, Pirates, the Giants franchise, the Cardinals, the Orioles, and the Cubs all have 3 champions.
Yeah. Let me going to go back one, right? I just want to point out, since we mentioned the Yankees, right? Because there wasn't a whole lot of conclusions. At least anything that I've thought about right now, anyway. But one of the conclusions that is undeniable is that the Yankees kicked ass. Like, their franchise, just as you can see, far and away the better one out of all of them.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those things that going in. Obviously, the Yankees had so many great teams.
Oh yeah, but you don't know. Yeah, you notice it when you're actually doing something.
When you're playing every team, it's like the whole 100 years of baseball condensed into this tournament, and it really just reinforces how good this Yankees, that was this franchise. Yeah.
Right, and it pains me to say that. Obviously, I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, but you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, honestly, those preliminary rounds that I ran first, I don't even remember. I think I might have saw 2 Yankee teams in that whole preliminary round. They were like, I swear to God, there might have been only 2 Yankee teams in the bottom 600 and something teams of all time. I mean, all the Yankee teams were. I mean, they were all up there. It's really great. So it's impressive. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is a nice little colorful chart with logos, and it looks cool, and it gives you really some good information on how far the team franchises. There's a few franchises on here didn't even make it to the logo round, so
and we'll share some of this stuff too. Like where you can, if you're that interested in it, you can take a look at it.
All right, Bash All Stars. Now this is the fun part, right? So here we go. So we came up. We've kept. I tried to keep meticulous stats for the most part, for all the brackets and all the preliminary games, compiled all the stats for all the players and all the teams and pitchers and batters, and even came up with league leader, the Bash leaders, career bracket leaders, records.
I was going to say, so each bracket has a stat for each bracket, so we know how everybody did in each bracket, and then he combined all that, so you think like regular baseball terms, you have season stats and career stats. So we have bracket stats and tournament stats, or like their career stats.
Yep. So we can get to the stats in a little bit too, but all right. So I just want to kind of go through this little presentation. We have the All Stars that we had this is the Bash All Stars up to I would say up to now, and it's probably. I don't think we're going to do this again.
I don't think there's enough of different. Yeah, there's not enough games.
Yeah. So the first We did one right-handed pitcher, one left-handed pitcher. First team All-Star is Roger Clemens. He's on the Red Sox here. He had many great bash seasons on the Astros.
He's in the tournament. He's the career wins leader too.
Yep, career wins leader in the tournament. Yep. So the Rocket is again. You'll notice none of these guys are probably any surprise. I mean, that's one thing I will say that all these stats, the leaders and the pretty much right where you would expect. I mean, which is that's it says a lot about some of the stats accuracy and the fact that we're doing this and the amount of some players have quite a few games played, as you'll see.
Yeah, the players that most of these guys had close to a season's worth of stats by playing their whole career in the tournament.
Gettysburg, Eddie Plank, the left-handed bash all-star first team. I'm sorry, I can't really have my numbers up here on it, but you'll have to trust me. But we will see the stats, some of the stats at least we can show after. But I'm just going to list them to go through the names right now. A lot of people here will probably know all these names anyway. So he's the left-handed pitcher. Mm-hmm. Who would you guess would be the closer? Mariano Rivera. He had, I think
he's the career save leader. He kind of got off to a slow start in the bash, the first half, and then the second half he just really turned into a full-on, Mariano Rivera as you expect him.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is there's none of his teams actually made it to the final 32.
His dynasty, Yankee dynasty, did not make it in.
But I'm not crying for the Yankees. So, no, even if I liked the Yankees, I wouldn't cry for them because they already have 3 teams in the final 32 anyway.
Oh, and then another note on these kind of baseball cardy looking things. They're based on there's an actual, I think it was Topps. I'm not a baseball card expert on, but the background's based on a real card, just in case someone's like, hey, that looks like just, so I don't want to, say that I invented that.
Yep. Another Yankee, Yogi Berra, the first team catcher, all-star.
We had a tight race in catchers. It was.
Yep. There's a lot of. We'll see the second and third team that they're pretty stacked too as well for catcher for a lot of other positions.
Yeah, their stats were very close too. Yeah, I mean it was tight. You could be tight for every position, but that one was especially.
Now the Yankee, the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig, first base. Nothing much to say here. I mean, he's just like just what you would expect. He had a couple of big hits. I remember.
Oh yeah.
One of them was a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you can. Well, I was just gonna say because he had the 27 Yankees. Because we said they're a 3-game series, and they were cruising through. And I can't recall what team it was they were playing, but they got forced into a third, a game 3 deciding.
They lost game 1, and game 2 wasn't looking good for them. And I think he came up in the 8th inning, or the 9th inning, possibly. And with the bases loaded, and they were down, I think 2 runs, and he hit or 3 runs, and he hit a bases clearing triple in Yankee Stadium to tie it up. And then they went on to win that game, and then the series, obviously. Yeah. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. Every other game they blew out the teams they played, except for that one game they lost, and then the one game they almost lost.
Yeah. Okay. Here we got a guy in his pajamas, Cocky Eddie Collins. Cocky Collins, they called him. Unbelievable. He's a great player. I mean, Jamie and I play in this Field of Dreams league.
Yeah, he's a legend in the Field of Dreams league.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Baseball Legends leagues.
That's man. I was just gonna say the Field of Dreams too. Could be a project for some podcaster streamer out there, but would be interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, but this Eddie Collins, I know him from. I didn't really know him probably before I played this. Believe it or not, and maybe it's a sad thing to admit. But when we joined the Field of Dreams leagues like 2 or 3 years ago, like this guy, man, just performs, right? And he doesn't. This isn't OTP. This is a different game. But when we played OTP, I definitely kept an eye on him, and he actually performed almost exactly the same way. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
to see him hit and to see him just run the bases too. He'd basically get a single and then turn it into a double on the.
He was clearly the top second baseman, at least offensively. It was an easy choice.
Hey, we got a modern player, or somewhat modern, Chipper Jones. So he was he mashed the ball at third base, and he deserved the All-Star selection for third base. And now we're back to Honus Wagner again. So
this is maybe other than Babe Ruth, he would be number 2 on the short list of best overall player, position player in the bash, I would say.
Yep. Again, he's just every time he got up, it's almost like you just figured he was going to get a hit on, or if he didn't get a hit, you were like, wow, he didn't get a hit.
Yeah. If he needed a hit, he got a hit. If they didn't need a hit, it didn't matter. But when he needed one, he got it.
Yep. And the splendid splinter, Ted Williams, Teddy Ballgame. Now he wasn't really, he was kind of invisible in the first half of the bash because his teams really weren't the randomly selected brackets didn't really, he wasn't really that he didn't play much in the first half.
Yeah, just his team didn't get until the second half of the bracket.
But he certainly caught up, though. I'll tell you, he caught up with there was really a couple. Well, one of his teams made the final 32, and he actually broke the record for the number of hits in the bash, which we'll get to probably. But yeah, he shattered the record. So he took off and deserved the all-star first team all-star selection. Mm-hmm. And here we go. Say hey, Willie Mays. Again, another guy just just got up, hit big home runs and big hits. So just a great player, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he hit great. I mean, I just had to have an image of him catching the ball just because he's famous for the catch. But yeah, he's hitting in his defense, whereas
great picture. I love the picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, Babe Ruth. What else do you say? Guy he pretty much leads the league in a lot, or he's up there first or second in most of the stats.
Yeah. And he just dominated the home run totals. Yeah. It wasn't even close. Yeah, the only one who might have gave him a run if he got more time in the bash was Jimmy Fox. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, anybody that had similar amount of bats as Babe Ruth, nobody was close to him in tournament, total home runs.
And that's it for the starting nine, the first team. Now, here's the second team. We'll just kind of run through these guys. So, catcher, Mike Piazza. First base, Fred Luderus. He had a really good bash. Roberto Alomar, again, he's no surprise. George Brett. Nomar goes to Garcia Power, gets the second team all-star.
Yeah, he had a great. I mean, he was like 340 batting average. It was pretty impressive.
Yep. Ty Cobb, of course. Stan Musial, Frank Robinson. You're like, hey, this is like Hall of Fame. This is all Hall of Fame guys, except for Nomar, right? Mm-hmm. And you got Clayton Kershaw, Christy Mathewson, and Craig Kimbrell, out of all people, pretty much had the second. He was the second best closer.
Yeah,
arguably. I copied the same.
There's some. I remember the third team catcher should have been Johnny Bench.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't update the thing correctly.
Yeah, we'll just have to edit. First base was Jimmy Fox. Yeah. Was third team first base. Third team second base was Roger Hornsby.
Yep.
I don't recall third team third base. So I'll have to.
Yeah, shortstop. Sorry about that.
Third base and shortstop. I remember. But the outfit is correct. The third team
outfield is correct, and the pitchers are correct. So we got Chris Speaker, who was excellent. He actually led the league, and I kept track of outfield assists on manually through the whole tournament. So I'm not that.
Which obviously historically,
he led the league in outfield assists. Hank Aaron. Again, there's another guy that if his teams were better and they performed and they got him a lot, if he was able to play more games in the bash, I think his stats would have been much better. But he's one of those victims of having bad teams a lot and because of that, a lot fewer games played. Joe DiMaggio, I mean, he was really good as well, and he's actually in the final 32. But he gets squeezed out because of all the other great outfielders.
Yeah, the outfield was tough. And there's guys you could made like a 16.
Oh yeah, but these are the top of the top.
Yeah, so. But we went by the best stats. We didn't take the names.
So Steve Carlton, lefty, Greg Maddux, righty. Greg Maddux, both of those guys just as advertised. Jim Brewer is a closer. I can't say I really knew much about him before the bash, so that was kind of
Greg Maddux and Clemens had probably one of the best.
Oh yeah,
pitching duels. I'll post. There's a story I have for that if people are interested. When we start posting that stuff, I'll put it up for sure.
Sure, and that's a great story. It's a great game. It was right towards the end. One of the last brackets, and they had a duel, man. They had a great pitching matchup. So these are the all-stars. So I just want to kind of go through those. What do we have next? Let's see. Oh, so now we're just gonna get to some cool things, like some cool moments, and
this part kind of just touches on the imagination. You're thinking of all these guys together and the all-stars. So obviously this is AI generated. But what if all these guys were all together and here's Ty Cobb signing an autograph for Hank Aaron, which actually I saw a picture. It was a real picture of a 70-something-year-old Ty Cobb signing the picture for
Yeah.
Hank Aaron. So I thought, like, well, what if they were together? So he's a
Yep.
young Ty Cobb signing the autograph for Hank Aaron.
Yep, it's really cool. I mean, just something again, just like to add a little personality to the tournament.
It's
just like make it look real, somewhat like
Well, in our minds, we kind of
tickle your imagination.
We imagine that this is like a universe of its own with all these
Yep.
teams playing together. They're all all there.
All right, so the statistical leaders and player spotlight. So here we go. Some a little bit of stats here. So we got single bracket batting leaders. Ted Williams had the most in the bracket with 35.
That was a fun thing to follow.
Oh yeah,
Following how many hits he got was really fun.
Babe Ruth and Owen Wilson had 8 home runs. Nobody had more than 8 home runs in a single bracket. And that 8 was hit pretty early, I think. And we were waiting, but really the home runs just never really materialized.
There was guys who got to 7. And
but then they get knocked out, right?
You had to get there. You had to make it at least to the finals to get enough at bats, I think.
I think one of the funniest ones I think of was I think John Lowenstein. I think he had like 4 home runs in the first round. I think
he might have finished with like
3 home
5.
runs in the first round. Then he had 1 more in the second, but then they got knocked out. I'm like, I would have loved to see what he would have done in the whole tournament.
Then he turned back into John Lowenstein. No,
that's true.
If John Lowenstein's there, if he calls in, then we will take his call then.
There were other guys like Killebrew, some other guys that and Hank Aaron for that. They started off hot, but then they just kind of fizzled, So
I'm just teasing the box score guys.
I'm glad that we got Dick Allen on here still because he was a monster in the first half of the bash brackets. He kind of didn't really show up much in the second half. He must have just used up all of his games and stuff mostly. But he has the most RBIs in a bracket with 25.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is fun. The single bracket batting title. These are the batting title holders.
Yeah, so think of this as like your stats of a player might have in the postseason. So obviously they can have crazy numbers.
So these are the rate stats. So you kind of like trying to you have minimum number of bats, and we try to keep it so it looks regular. But honest to God, this 2000 Orioles Chris Richard guy he hit 581 in the whole tournament. And, he didn't play every. I think
he only played against right. He only played against, he played just against right-handers, I believe.
But he had the numbers, man. I mean, that's one guy that I would say out of this whole thing that he's probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah, like that's not a name that people would expect to see there.
No.
Sure.
And Giancarlo Stanton, obviously he's a name you would expect to see in something like that with that.
Yeah, when it comes to power, for sure.
Yep. What else we got? This
is like total in the tournament. So when we say tournament, this means like every version of Pete Rose or Babe Ruth, we just add up all their stats, and that becomes their tournament stats.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at this, it's similar. It's close to a whole season, right? I mean, Pete Rose.
Yeah, I think you get it close to 500 plate appearances if they were someone like Pete Rose or Babe Ruth that played and got to play deep into brackets.
Yeah. So we got 180. Pete Rose led there. Babe Ruth, 42 total home runs. I think he won the home run total by at least like almost 20. I think maybe.
Yeah, I think it was
a little less.
Maybe close to 20 for sure.
Yeah. The RBIs were shared by Musial and Berra, 110 total. Mm-hmm. Batting title leaders, Paul Wainer had the best batting average for the brackets up to now. Ted Williams, the best on base, and Babe Ruth, the best slugging percentage. So those numbers are pretty. And we have. I'll get to this. I'll get to it after if anybody wants to, or we can. The other thing is, as we're going to be broadcasting every game of the final 32 on several broadcasts, and we have plenty of time to talk about other, get into some of the stats, and if we want to just in between games or maybe even before a game, or we can just have another broadcast just to continue to go through the stats here like this. We can do that as well. We don't have to have a game. We could just be. If anybody really wants to see more stats, I can bring up the spreadsheets. We can kind of filter them and do whatever that way. Okay, now back to some more fun stuff. So there were only two no hitters in the bash up to now. So Steve Carlton, we had mentioned in the first half, he had pitched a no hitter against the Brewers at what is it called, American Family Field now. So basically, Bernie Brewer just sat in his little hut there the whole game because they didn't get one hit. And Charlie Robertson actually was on one of the last brackets.
And this is a
The
guy
last
last
bracket.
year, big 1920s baseball aficionado. You may not have heard of. There's probably a lot of people already do know them, but I definitely didn't know of him. And I looked it up. He actually threw a no-hitter in real life, so it's kind of fun and ironic that he did. And the other thing too is that with the great help of AI, I had to calculate how many no-hitters we should have, or we more likely would have had. I think it came up with a number of 5, and we only ended up with 2.
Mm.
But we had Lon Warnke of the Cubs take a perfect game with 2 outs into the 9th and got broken up by Tom Grieve, who will always curse from now on.
Yeah.
Killed our only possible perfect game.
Oh yeah.
And then Dizzy Dean also was another one who had a no-hitter going into the 9th and lost it. And had otherwise probably one of the best pitch games ever in the bash other than the one hit.
Oh yeah. Well, plus we had several one hitters. I mean,
yeah, the several, but the
and
guys who took it
way.
they took it like deep into the game with no hits.
Oh yeah.
It was with those 2 stood out. So we were close to what should have been. It just didn't work out.
Yep. All right, and then we had several three home run games. I wanted to kind of bring these out and just call them out. So, and we took some screenshots and from the OOTP game that they hit the home runs. Because I will mention that I do have every bracket was a separate OOTP game save with with all those teams in the bracket and the tournament. And so, and I actually have all those brackets all those saves, so I can go at any time. I can load one up. And I in OOTP and actually have the highlights and all the game. I can actually have all the game. I can rewatch any game I want. So we just went back and got the camera angles right and took some screenshots of Bobby Mercer hitting a home run. He was one of them against the 91 Braves. We had Zach Walters of the 2000. I'm sorry,
another guy that you may not have heard of.
2014 Indians, I believe. That was done.
I believe it was, yeah.
Yep.
And it's funny too. He's another one of those kind of like ironic kind of things because he hit 10 lifetime home runs. I think 7 in that season, or maybe it was.
He hit 10 in that season.
Yeah, okay.
He only had like 100 at bats.
Yeah,
so he had 100 at bats and he hit 10 home runs in that season.
That's what I was saying. It was 7 of his 10 home runs were solo home runs, and he hit 3 home runs, but all 3 were solo. So
in one
it's just one of those funny numbers things.
Yeah, interesting. Giancarlo Stanton, that he obviously crushed the ball 3 times against the 92 Brewers for the Marlins. That's a nice shot of my new Marlins park that I kind of created with the one with that monstrosity in the outfield there. The home run sculpture. I'm kind of proud of that one. And Steve Garvey hit 3 in one game against the 60 Cubs. Mm-hmm. So that was he also recorded the highest game score in the tournament at 126. That's OOTP game score. And we have 2 more actually. Harmon Killebrew hit 3 home runs against the 30 Athletics. And Chief Myers, a dead baller, hit 3 home runs at the Polo Grounds. So that's these are the 3 home runs. Just some highlights, we wanted to go through. And another highlight, which I did post these in different places. Jim Rice hit the longest recorded home run in the Bash history, 556 feet at 1923, the 24 Yankees, but the 24 Yankee Stadium, which was to hit it as far as he did, as you can see the path there, it's a bomb. I mean, that thing, that's like the deepest part of any stadium probably ever,
You can't tell on the angle, but there was probably only a couple more rows before it went out of the bleachers.
Yep, exactly.
It would have been on some train going off to New Jersey somewhere.
Yep. So that was just another interesting thing. Oh, and this is a fun one too. Here we go. Lefty Tyler hit a home run off of Lefty Tyler. There was a few instances where we had players playing against themselves, and that's fun. That was all part of the Bash. Jamie did write a few things about like Jack McDowell facing Jack McDowell, but in this case, Lefty Tyler of the 16 Braves. At least they were on different teams. He was pitching for the Cubs, and he took him deep for a home run. That was pretty cool, I thought.
Braves Tyler took Cubs Tyler deep for a home run.
Yep,
the only time that that's happened in the Bash.
So that's pretty cool. There was some fun things. We actually the only time we had a team that played the same the team maybe a year difference. Like say, all right, the only time I can think of this happened, the 1982 Mets played the 83 Mets or something like that. Somewhere like where one team only a year apart played.
Yeah, I think that happened like maybe like specifically a year apart. It may have been a few, but within
Yeah, a few
like
years, but then
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But this one was 1 year apart, and there was almost every player, and I think Bernie Strom knows this from his project, that he's had a few situations where almost the whole team was like playing against each other, like they were the same players on both sides, maybe save for a few of them, you know.
I'd say I think of our biggest. It wasn't a year apart, but the closest was the final and the White Sox. I want to say it was the 43 White Sox against the 45 White Sox.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. Something like
That was the only finals where the teams were that close.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was interesting just because we knew a White Sox team was going to win it.
Yeah, that's the only time two franchises played each other in the final.
And I just want to say, like this kind of thing, you know, I think this is what makes the Bash great. You know, is that we got to like we play all these games, and there's no it's just it is what it is. Teams play the teams. These are not. It doesn't matter if they're playing each other or if it's not looking. You know, it's obviously not a realistic tournament anyway.
Well, I mean, I think the way you look at it is that this isn't trying to prove who the greatest team ever was. This is just saying if you threw every team in baseball into one giant tournament, who would survive to the end?
Yeah, that's it. It's like a big Royal Rumble.
Yeah, you know? I mean, obviously the better teams are more likely to survive, but they don't always. So
yeah, you never know. The 2000 Orioles could win the 32 team bracket to win the whole thing, right? So all right, and then this one here, I think this might be one of the last slides for the review, is the 26. This is a game that happened in the first half, but the 26. This is the wackiest game I think we've seen.
Yeah, this
22
is
to 18.
Game, yeah.
The Senators beat the Phillies 22 to 18. Is like a football game, just a crazy thing. And then like the innings were like, you know, here's like the breakdown, some stats here.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can read it, but the on the graphics, it's kind of hard to read. But that list, that's everybody who came to bat for the Senators in the fifth inning when they scored. I believe it was 14 runs in one inning. And then
the Phillies had 11 runs.
Yeah, the Phillies came back and retook after giving up 14 runs, scored 11 runs in another inning to take the lead. Then the Senators came back and won it in the end, 22 to 18.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wacky.
Yep.
So, and that's it for that thing. So that's the Bash in a nutshell. It's so far up to this point. Now,
now we get to the.
I mean, let me get this. Hold on one second. Let me just. Oh, there we go. So here we are. So we're back here. I'm just going to set up the preview. So now we're going to get to the preview of the 32 team tournaments. If I can see
who. The teams aren't a secret if you followed along at all, but this will be the first time you'll see who each one plays.
Well, let me just show you what I'll say. Just to show you the stats before we go to the preview. Let me just. Oops. Sorry, I'm just fooling around. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. All right, let me just try this. So here's the So what I did was we had all these stats. You can see this, right, Jamie? I had all these stats here for the bracket. These are the career pitching leaderboards. Now I had all this in Excel, and I was able to use a little AI coding and stuff. And
this was very clever, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get to these pictures I'm gonna talk about in a second. But what I had to do was I had to create leaderboards based off of the spreadsheet that had every stat, had like I don't know how many thousands of lines of every player of every team. So it added it all up, and it gave me the leaderboards, and I actually had it generate a PowerPoint slide with the top 5 of each stat category, and then also take these wonderful pictures that Steve Tate actually allowed me to use. He has a large collection, a lot on most sports, where he's colorized or he's cleaned up a lot of these photos, or even just maybe just used current photos of plays. He has thousands and thousands of pictures.
Yeah, he enhances the resolution on the ones that need it to make them look really.
So you can see, like guys like Orville overall. You can see. So this is basically the stat leaders for each category, and we kind of based a lot of our. And now a lot of these stats, granted, granted, they're going to be for players that played the most games. They're going to have some of the most stats. So, like someone like Clemens pitched in them. He started 50 games, and he had 26 wins. So yeah, he's going to have the most wins. But he's dominant, I guess you would say. Mariano Rivera pitched the most games, and he had the most saves. Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But but you can see Joe Page. I can go through some of these names. Like I remember Joe Page was dominant in one of the brackets, right?
Yeah, one of the brackets. He just really helped the Yankees. I think it was the 49 Yankees who ended up winning the bracket, and he was a big reason why they did.
Yep. I mean, Nolan Ryan strikeouts up. He's up there with strikeouts and probably less games
and walks too.
Yeah, and walks. Yeah. Just like Nolan Ryan would be, right?
Yeah. That's
and then we have even like these are just every stat, like innings pitched, and the innings pitched totals might be a little weird because of the decimal points. But hits against, home runs,
Eddie
runs,
in the ERA.
ERA. Robin Roberts. Yeah, Robin Roberts is the leader in ERA. Eddie Plank's up there. Hit by pitch, Bob Gibson. You feel bad for those 12 guys. And then we have Ks per 9, K walk ratio. So Dazzy Vance had the most Ks per 9. Now that's the other interesting thing with using 1980. We realized that the strikeout numbers just not high. I mean, they're just not. It was not often that even a player would get even more than 10 strikeouts, 12 strikeouts. I think the record was like 13 or 15.
I think it was 14 by Rude.
14. Yep. Oh, that's right. He broke the record right at the end. Yep. And then
it was a mix between, I think, using 1980, and then also you have teams, all the pre-World War II teams that have very low strikeouts mixed in with the, know. So you ended up with like a kind of a mid-century level average strikeouts, I'd say.
Yep. Smokey Joe Wood, career MVP leader. Now the career MVPs is we went back and I went back. And I went back to every series for every round of every bracket. And I just figured, OTP, it basically designates an MVP of a series, right? Whenever you win one. And for pitchers, it's not that many because mostly a pitcher only pitched once in a series, unless it was a reliever. But some occasions, if they had a really good game, they would be they would be the series MVP. So these are the pitchers that had the most MVPs in the whole bash up to now. Mm-hmm. Now we're at the batting leads. Brooks Robinson had the most games. Pete Rose kind of leads. He's a stud and plate appearances at bats, hits. So there you go. You have all these other guys. Collins, Robinson.
It's a pretty good race in hits. He just beat out Rose.
Yep, just beat out Eddie Collins. Yep.
Yeah, and Cobb was 7 behind him.
Yep. Singles, doubles, triples. Clemente had the most triples. Babe Ruth. Oh, there you go. He only won by 11. I thought it was
closer than I remembered.
Yeah. But Frank Robinson was pretty good. He kicked some ass.
Yeah.
RBIs, mutual, which we looked at. Total bases, Babe Ruth. Walks. So this is interesting too. These stats here. So we got intentional walks. Barry Bonds, just probably who you would expect, right? Mm-hmm. Stolen bases. Max Carey actually took the title for that one. Ricky Henderson came in third. Lou Brock, him and Lou Brock were tied on. Funny enough, ground into double plays. Me and Jamie laugh about this because I think Cal Ripken is the. I think he is the.
Unless he's been surpassed, but I know when he retired, he was the all-time grounding into double plays guy.
And I don't know, did they keep that stat all the way back? I'm not even sure.
Yeah. Well, I can't say like how far back. I know it goes back through most of modern baseball. That's for sure.
But we're like, even this is correct. Although I don't see Jim Rice up there because I remember Jim Rice used to ground into so many double plays. He used to infuriate me. So, all right. And then here's the rate stats, kind of like average. Ty Cobb won the batting average. Oh, no. Yeah. Ty Cobb, Paul Wainer. That's it. I had Paul Wainer as the.
Oh, you know what happened is because when you brought in the prelim stats, it changed it a little bit.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's probably my fault.
Yeah, so this is actually the most freshest current numbers.
Yeah. Sure. So Ty Cobb won the belt, not Paul Wainer. Okay, sorry, Paul.
He just missed it by 1/100th of a point.
Yeah, Gabby Kravitz, the slugging winner. He actually ended up. I think he's. Oh yeah, because you know what? A lot of he played a lot in the preliminary rounds. I had the preliminary rounds late. So that's a little out of date. So I apologize for that. But Gabby Kravitz, so he was the leader in slugging. OPS, Babe Ruth. Now the home runs per 100 is really interesting. So this is a home runs per 100 at bats. Earl Wilson had the most, and he was a pitcher.
And he hit some pinch hit home runs, which wasn't out of character for him either.
No, but he hit 3. I remember he had 3 home runs in one series. I think he got up.
Yeah, in a grand slam.
Or maybe the playoffs. He had 2 in one series and 1 in another. It's like amazing.
We have a Substacks page dedicated just for the bash. I'll share the link, and then because there's a good, interesting write up for Earl Wilson and his time in the bash. If anybody wants to follow that.
So the Ks per 100. I didn't really want to have pitchers on here because it's batting stats, but for some reason I had a hard time getting rid of some of these pitchers. But Dave Kingman's basically the first batter that leads in strikeouts per 100. That's just interesting to see who, Pete Incaviglia. I think
those 2 guys you would think.
And Frankie Crissetti leads in hit by pitch. So anyway, we have career MVPs. So the MVPs, the Eddie Collins, Joe DiMaggio, Frank Robinson, Babe Ruth, and Dick Allen had all 9 total, which is a lot. So and then we have some fielding leaders, So as I mentioned, Tris Speaker had an outfield assist. Now this is stuff I kept manually because, interestingly enough, to my surprise, OOTP doesn't keep playoff fielding stats. So hopefully maybe they'll change that in the future.
Red doing.
Okay, Red doing. Yep. So this is the stats. I just wanted to kind of go through that, and why don't we talk about the preview? How's that? Do you want to start that up or what?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go preview the team.
Anybody chatting out there? Let's see. We got Sean. We got Ludorus. I knew Sean would love Ludorus on there. Yeah. I'm looking at the chat.
Yeah, he became kind of a bash legend for us too, for sure.
All right, so I'm going to share. I'm going to do this once again. All right, so here we go. We'll just get through this final 32 preview. We're just going to kind of quickly, somewhat quickly go through some of the teams. These are some 3 prominent players with the OTP modeled stadiums, supremely, exquisitely done by Jamie on using AI, which is awesome. This is funny. I actually,
it kind of paired him up with the player.
I kind of like it because the blue writing. I'm just looking at this now. The blue writing kind of goes with that Star Wars theme. It kind of reminds me of like the credits, like when when it, "May the Force be with you" or whatever.
I believe it was based on 1970s NBC sports fonts.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what I modeled it from.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So that was right around the Star Wars. So.
Learn something new every day. Okay, so those are my models for those Yankee Stadium candlestick and Sportsman's, all with a different angle. So all right, so we're gonna get down to it. The first matchup here in the round of 32 here, the final round. We got the 1906 Cubs with the number 1 seed in the tournament against the worst seed, to make the final 32, the 2000 Orioles, right? So this is interesting. So Jamie, you want to talk about the 06 Cubs road to the
the 06 Cubs, which in baseball they're always in the short list of one of the greatest baseball teams in history, obviously. But also they have the all-time best winning percentage. So they did make the finals, but every series they played up to the finals, they got forced to play a game 3. So they won 5 consecutive series, in a game 3 clinching game to make it to the end. So they dodged getting upset several times before making the finals to face probably the biggest. Well, they are the biggest Cinderella story in the whole bracket, the 2000 Orioles.
Excuse me. So just quickly we go through the team. All these pictures. I hope this is full screen for everybody. I mean, the pictures are a little small, but all these pictures are courtesy of Steve Tate. He was able to, luckily he was able to help me by adding a good number of pictures to his collection by giving that I requested. So we have Johnny Kling at catcher, Frank Chance at first, Johnny Evers, and this is a great team here. Harry Steinfeld, Joe Tinker, Jimmy Sheckard, Jimmy Slagle, and Frank Schulte. Frank Schulte, who was the MVP of his bracket for this team. He was also the MVP of another Cubs team as well, which, like I mentioned before, only 2-time MVP. It's a tough order for the Orioles to face these guys. This team. Well, again, this was the first bracket that we played, so my memory is not this is like a year ago, just about a year ago that we played this team. So
yeah. The Cubs, and then the Orioles weren't too far after that either.
No, the Orioles are, I think, bracket 4 or 5.
Yes.
So these go back a little ways, but the Orioles, we have 4 dice. This is not exactly who's who and best baseball players, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you grew up and following the Orioles, these are all
like you did.
Yeah, to say for me, I know them, but I mean, obviously there's some big names too. But
and this is right around the time Jamie probably was watching. So, but he didn't put his finger on the scale, I promise. 4 dice. Chris Richard, as we had mentioned, look at that number: the 581 hit, 18 hits, 3 home runs, not bad. Delino DeShields, not really. Oh, some of these plays. The other thing is, well, I don't know if I want to get into that now, but just about how the teams were picked. Well,
I was just going to say too, the thing with the Orioles that's kind of comes out in this tournaments too is that they in real life they traded a lot of players at the end of the season, because they were out of it and got players, and the players they got in return actually all had good seasons, the last month and a half or whatever. And the tournament rules, if you got traded off the team, you're not on the team that plays in the tournament. You play on the team you got traded to. So
at the end of season rosters, we use whoever they look.
So Richard got traded from, I can't remember, I think it was the Cardinals to the Orioles, and they traded Will Clark. So Richard's the starting first baseman. So some of these guys, they had like 200 at bats, but they had really good 200 at bats. So this Orioles team it's not as bad as the full season's worth of Orioles teams, but it's still crazy that they're there.
Yep. You got DeShields. A bunch of, so a couple of these guys, DeShields and Mora, for instance, don't have stats because they weren't actually on. The computer actually didn't, before Jamie and I decided eventually, like before halfway, that we were going to look at all the teams' lineups and active rosters just to make sure that it was accurate, because OOTP for about the first 6 or 7 or 8 brackets, I just let them do the rosters, which
most of it picked the right guys.
It was fine, but there's some instances here, like you see, Delino DeShields didn't play, Melvin Moore didn't play, so they're going to be in there this time because we went through the teams this time around and we made sure that going by Baseball Reference and who played the most and who was the starters, we did the best we could as far as putting the lineups together this time around. So, Cal Ripken was the MVP, 338, 22 hits. You got Mora, Conine, Brady Anderson, the Roydman, and Albert Bell is on this team. So, big bad boy Albert Bell.
So, big game-winning home runs for them in the past.
Yep. So this will be an interesting matchup because I'm actually curious to see how far the Orioles will go if they can actually create another upset here. That would be really curious. I'd be really curious to see how they play because let's get into the pitchers. So the pitchers actually here. Well, look, every bad team has a good starting pitcher. They had Mike Mussina. He did very well in the bracket. Then you see Jose Mercedes we had as the second starter. And he didn't, he was like 3-3. Okay, like you might think Jose Mercedes might do. And then Sidney Ponson did great. He went 3-0, and I think the bullpen must have won some games for them too.
Yeah.
But then, so if Mike Mussina wins a game, they already have a chance. You know what I mean? So now you look at the other side, and you got Mordecai Brown. Again, his stats aren't the greatest from the bracket, but it was enough to get the wins. And Jack Pfister, same thing, and Ed Rollback kind of took over as the third. As you know, as you mentioned, they went 3 games every series. So Ed Rollback came into play a lot,
He saved their bacon many times.
Exactly. So, all right. So we'll go to the next series. We got the 29 Cubs against the 26 Senators. So this is a nice series from the 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is one of the few where the two in the finals are 2 teams from the same, not only just same decade, but a few years apart.
Yeah, we technically we could have them play in the 20, like in the middle season, but 1980 all the way. So, all right. So we have So for the Cubs, we have Mike Gonzalez catching. Charlie Grimm, that's Jolly Charlie, they call him. Rogers Hornsby's on the Cubs in this one. He makes the final 32 with the Cubbies. Norm McMillan, Woody English, Riggs Stevenson, Hack Wilson, another great name. He had 350.
Yeah, he was an MVP of their winning series too.
Yep. I don't know if it's Kiki. I think Beatles calls him Kyler. But let me just go back to Riggs Stevenson, 354 average. Yeah. So, but Hack Wilson was the stud on the offense there, 5 homers
and this is the 26 Senators of the famous 22-18 game, the same team that we mentioned earlier. Which
that's right. That's right. Muddy Rule, the catcher. Now look at these guys all hit. I mean, look at their averages. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I think that game against the Phillies probably helped.
Yeah.
But Joe Judge, Bucky Harris, Aussie Blues, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Buddy Meyer, Goose Goslin, Sam Rice, and Earl McNeely. I mean, every one of those averages are pretty. If they're not over 300, they're very close.
Right.
Very good offense. Should be an interesting series, I think.
Yep. There definitely should be it'll probably be 3 pitching duels, but it's set up to be a good slugfest.
Yep. And if you notice, each screen, each stadium in the background is the batters is one team that's in the series, and the pitchers is the other team. So this is the Senators Stadium, Griffith, and we got Charlie Root for the Cubs, Pat Malone, and Guy Bush as the starters. Now, Guy Bush looks like he had some rough times. Charlie Root, however, did very well, and Pat Malone did pretty decent.
And the guy who's on the reliever for the Senators too, I remember Mayberry.
Firpo.
Yeah, Firpo was really key for them winning too.
Yep, for the Senators. Yep, they got Kovaleski, Walter Johnson, big train.
In the General.
He's MVP. And General Crowder, who actually didn't pitch in the last one because that was another one of those issues with they had someone else going, but
they swapped him.
He's going to get the starter here. Yep. So that's the second matchup, and we're going to go to matchup number 3 in Region A. We got the 08 Pirates and the innate Cleveland Naps.
Yeah, here we got 2 dead balls teams going.
That's right.
All right,
so we got 03 Naps and 08 Pirates. So for the Pirates, we got George Gibson, Alan Stork, Ed Abbaticchio, one of the first names in the Baseball Encyclopedia. Thanks.
And I believe I could be wrong, but I think he's the first player of Italian heritage to play in the major leagues.
Oh, possibly.
But
he hit 3.
If not the first, he's definitely up there.
Well, he did hit 314, not too bad. Tommy Leach did very well, 379, but he was not anywhere close to the next guy, Honus Wagner, who hit 438, 3 homers, 13 RBI, 6 stolen bases, and he won the MVP that bracket.
Yeah, that's pretty much Honus Wagner every series.
Yeah. Fred Clark, Roy Thomas, Owen Wilson, who did not have, that wasn't his 8. Well, he did not hit 8 home runs in this bracket.
No, that was with the 1912 Pirates. And this 1908 Pirates was that famous 1908 season where the Cubs, Giants, and Pirates all battled it out down to the end of the season. So they're definitely a really good team.
Yep. For the Naps, we got Harry Bemis, Charlie Hickman, Nap Lajoie, of course. He's 6 stolen bases himself, so it looks like there'll be some speed on the base paths in this series. Bill Bradley, John Gocknauer, Harry Bay, Jack Toney, and Elmer Flick was the MVP with those numbers. 8 stolen bases and 357 average. So yeah, that should be a good matchup there. Pitching wise, Howie Kamnitz looks like he's in the Wax Museum in that picture. I told Steve, I was like, Steve, one of the pictures, I couldn't remember who it was. I was like, one of the cards you gave me, the guy looks like it's like a doll or something. So that's the guy.
He'll update that, I'm sure.
But it looks good though. It still looks good. It's still
yeah.
I mean, it's amazing,
It looks good on him.
Oh yeah, he looks good on you though. We need to get Lando on here at some point in these broadcasts, so we need him. All right, Kamnitz, Vic Willis, Lefty Leafield for the Pirates, and for the Naps, we got Earl Moore, Bill Bernard, and Addie Joss. That Addie Joss looks like he's ready for the winter there. So that's the matchups for the Pirates and Naps. Anything to add there, or is it going to go to the next one?
No, we can get the next one. I mean,
The final bracket, final matchup of Region A is the 72 Reds and the 2003 Athletics.
And this is one of 2 big red machines that made it
to
the finals.
And we got Johnny Bench, the MVP, who had 5 home runs in that bracket. He had a good final series, which gave him the MVP. Tony, as I think everybody's familiar with these 72 Reds, but we'll give the names. Tony Perez, 364 average, 4 dongs. Joe Morgan only at 208. So if he does good, then watch out. Dennis Menke, Dave Concepcion, Pete Rose, of course, Bobby Tolan, and Cesar Geronimo had an excellent bracket. 426, 4 homers, 10 RBIs. He kind of carried that team a little bit.
Yeah,
Picked up the slack for the other guys in the middle.
So usually happens, and that's kind of serious. Somebody steps up.
And then for the A's, we got Ramon Hernandez was MVP. He had actually a few good teams.
Actually, this Moneyball era A's teams all did pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good point.
A lot of semifinals and finals.
It is the Moneyball era.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hatterberg, Ellis, Chavez, 4 home runs. Tejada, Burns, Singleton, and Guillen. So, and for pitchers, we got for the Reds, Gary Nolan, Ross Grimsley, and Billingham. Now, I mean, the pitchers don't blow you away when you first look at them. At least it didn't blow me away. I'm like, all right, well, these Reds teams are good. But
the Reds teams, obviously their hitting was always the pitchers to get it done. But actually, the pitchers did,
Yeah, they're not too bad here, but And then for the A's, it's a hell of a starting right there. I mean, that's
3 starters. That's a nice.
Yeah, it's Hudson, Zito, Mulder. I mean, the stats are really good. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, those guys can, again, this is gonna be the amazing thing is gonna be just how all this stuff just plays out, because I feel like the A's could win the whole thing just on those 3 starters.
And then for the A's, it's almost like they had their famous Connie Mack dead ball A's. And they came close but never got one in. And then obviously the 70 A's, they were probably one of the more disappointing big name dynasties. Mm-hmm. They never really even threatened. I think maybe they had one team get kind of far, but none of those 70 A's teams lived up to expectations.
Exactly. And now we get some some familiar players here. The 1910 Cubs faced the 1913 Red Sox. So the Red Sox made a splash on this bracket because they were. I was thinking they weren't going to make it. They're going to be one of those teams that just didn't make it. Then all of a sudden, towards one of the last bunch of brackets, they went off and ripped 2 in a row.
Yeah, I think the 42 won first, and then they won the very next bracket.
Yeah, two brackets in a row with the Red Sox team. So I was like,
the only time that happened, it might have happened again, but that was the first time it happened where the same franchise won back to back.
Yeah. So here we are. We got, again, this is a very similar lineup to the 06 Cubs. Kling, Chance, Evers, Steinfeld, Tinker, Schechter,
not too much change. I mean, that's why that team was a dynasty for like 5 years.
Exactly. And Schulte was MVP again. So. And for the Red Sox, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and this Red Sox team was the 13 Red Sox, which was just a barely slightly above 500 team in the real season, but they had a lot of injuries, so in the bash, we used the guys who played the most. So, Smokey Joe Wood got hurt, but he played enough to be in the rotation. So that basically it's almost the 1912 Red Sox. If the 1913 Red Sox had been healthy all the way, it would have been like facing the. That's why, a big reason why this team's in it.
I see. So Tris Speaker was excellent here. Harry Hooper, Duffy Lewis, Heine Wagner, Larry Gardner.
It's a Bash legend, yeah.
Bash legend, yeah. And Steve Yerkes, Clyde Engel, and Bill Kerrigan, yeah. So that's going to be fun.
I think like 7 of those RBIs for Gardner were game winners, but like even though they only won 3 games.
Yep. If we haven't seen this team already in Bernie's Red Sox Bash, we will see them soon anyway.
Yeah.
And
I think this 1912 team just won.
1912 is in there, so very similar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the game 1 starters, we got Mordecai Brown versus Smokey Joe Wood. Game 2, we got King Cole versus Dutch Leonard. And if there's a third game, we'll have Orville Overall and Ray Collins. Mm-hmm. So that's it for that one. Next one, we got the 69 Orioles and the 2008 Cardinals.
The 69 Orioles are one of 3 teams that didn't lose a game in their pursuit through their bracket. The 38 Yankees were the first to do it, and then I'll save it for when they come up because they were a little, I wouldn't say a surprise, but not a team someone would think of did it as well. And then the 69 Orioles.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the Orioles since they're your baby?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think everybody that follows baseball knows about this, like 69, this era,
well, they definitely mashed. I know that. Looking at the
stats, they were. I think they were one of those teams that never even in close to losing a game. Everything just went perfect for them through the bracket.
Look at Frank Robinson, 447 home runs, 22 RBIs. Look, Paul Blair was another guy.
Yeah, Paul Blair was he did step up for them for sure.
He was MVP. I mean, 5 home runs, 388. That's pretty amazing. And that's a guy, honestly, I didn't really know much about coming into this. I'll be honest with everybody. I'll tell you when I don't know them. I mean, I don't know all the players until but but he was just one of those guys. I'm like, okay.
But that was the fun of the because
exactly.
Guys, you got the entire history of baseball. You got to see everybody at some point.
Yep. Don Buford, Mark Belanger as a favorite.
Yeah, he's a Field of Dreams.
Yeah, look at this team. They're all 300, 400 hitters, except for Davey Johnson, R.I.P. Boog Powell and Elrod Hendricks.
Yep.
And we got the 2008 Cardinals, in which obviously these Cardinals teams were really good. They had really good string of teams here in the 2000s, early 2000s and stuff. Yadier Molina, obviously Albert Pujols. Nobody don't have to say anything about him.
Yeah,
but he raked. He actually raked as opposed to the Field of Dreams when he actually went 0 for the finals one time.
I don't know someone who managed him. I think his team got knocked out twice at the first.
Somebody got beat down up 3-0 and got knocked out by a team owned by a guy here in this chat who's not talking on this chat right now. So I know World's Worst Game is the one who knows about that the best. So I'm sure he'll chat about it. Adam Kennedy, Torrey Gloss, Cesar Estura, Skip Shoemaker, Rick Ankiel in the outfield. Actually, wasn't even that bad in the outfield.
No,
and Ryan Ludwig.
Who World's Worst Gamer.
Actually, this is the team World's Worst Gamer drafted in the first season.
Yeah. And to be fair, Sean, probably the postseason aside, probably the most dominant in his first 5 seasons or whatever he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Jim Palmer versus Adam Wainwright in game 1. Mike Cuellar versus Todd Wellmeyer. It's a guy who he didn't play in the first bracket because he should have been in there. Based on his numbers in the Baseball Reference, and Dave McNally against Kyle Loge. So I think I would give the edge to the Orioles on this in the pitching department here.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, you would think that would be the case.
Yep. All right, 49 Yankees against the 63 Cardinals. So here we go with the Yankees march. Berra, Mize, Coleman, Bobby Brown, Phil Rizzuto, Gene Woodling, Joe DiMaggio was MVP, and Tommy Henrich.
This is the only Casey Stengel managed Yankees team that made it in this first year as a manager.
Yep, Yogi Berra was a stud.
He was pretty consistent every year. I mean, just like real Yogi Berra. Postseason all the way through.
And on the Cardinals, we got Tim McCarver, who hit 415, believe it or not. Bill White, Julian Javier, Ken Boyer did well. This is another familiar team, probably for World's Worst Gamer. Dick Rote, Stan Musial was amazing. Was good. Kurt Flood. And George Altman, who I don't have his stats in there.
I mean, he definitely was a good player because he was the MVP. I didn't want to say he hit like 5
smack, Mike.
Yeah, he was.
Did anybody here think this was really going to be professional broadcast? I mean, I hope not.
Well, you're right. 5,000 games. Yeah.
Yep.
Your percentages.
No, I know. Pitching staff wise, game 1, we got Ed Lopat versus Kurt Simmons. Kurt Simmons actually did really well. I remember him. Ed Lopat, not so much. But somehow, he was able to get by. Vic Raschi and Ernie Broglio. And then it's how nice is it to have Bob Gibson as your third starter in case. And he did really well. Allie Reynolds.
You can tell the Yankees hit looking at the pitchers here, right?
Yes, exactly.
With their records 3-0, 4-0.
Exactly. All right, next one, 42 Red Sox, 9 in the 66 Giants. We got Johnny Peacock, Tony Lupien, Bobby Dorr, Jim Tabor, Johnny Pesky, Teddy Ballgame hit 547 with 35 hits. That was this is the record-breaking bracket for him. 547. That's amazing. Dom DiMaggio and Lou Finney. And for the lineup for the Giants is going to be most likely Tom Haller, Willie McCovey, Hal Lanier, Jim Ray Hart, Tito Fuentes, Len Gabrielson, Willie Mays, Say Hey Kid hit 407 with 12 RBIs and 6 dongs, and Ollie Brown. So that's going to be a fun look in the game. Game 1 pitching at Tex Houston, Juan Marichal, Gaylord Perry versus Charlie Wagner, and Joe Dobson versus Bobby Boleyn.
Yeah, but the Red Sox.
Bobby Boleyn 5-0 with a 1.32.
They're going to have their hands full.
Yes, they are.
Staff, but they got the hitters, so we'll see.
Yep, we'll see. And here's the famous 27 Yankees. Obviously, Gehrig was MVP. The bottom of their this isn't the batting order. This is just the position.
And just to point out,
like
too, just to be able to see for the MVP. The MVP is for the final series, not for the bracket. So if you see somebody that, like Ruth, had overall better stats, but the MVP is it's like the World Series MVP.
Right. I think Gehrig did. He might have had a big game 3 or game.
You can still call him because he had so many clutch hits too. But yeah. Just wanted to
20 RBIs is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had more home runs, RBIs, but Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth had more. I'm looking at Bob.
If it was seasonal stats, I could say Ruth had a better season, but this is for the that final series. That's why.
Well, if Bob Musial can hit what he did in the bracket, then I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, I think
this team should be all right.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the 1972. We're on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the 2000 Orioles, this would be the next biggest Cinderella.
Yep, this is the second worst team. 72 Royals, the second biggest surprise. We'll say that, not worst team. That's kind of a negative thing to say. This is the second biggest surprise of being in the finals. So we had the 72 Royals. That was a fun team to watch. They hit very well, actually.
Yeah, and they actually were a good hitting team that year.
Yeah.
The early 70s were almost like a kind of mini dead ball period, and they were near the top hitting. So, and in case anybody wondered who played third base before George Brett, it was Paul Shaw.
Yep,
who
Paul
became
Shaw.
kind of one of our favorites after this series, like when we would see him pop up.
Yep. And John Mayberry and Cookie Rojas and Freddie Patek, who we noticed is one of the smallest players in the league, because in OTP the players do actually have.
Yeah,
there was a few times when Freddie Patek got a base hit and he was standing on first next to Frank Howard.
Yeah, it's
Frank
almost like
Howard was just
picture,
it looked like Andre the Giant standing next to me or something.
Willie Keeler was another one. It just looked like a little ant running around the field.
Yeah, exactly. Lou Piniella actually gets in here. Amos Otis is obviously always a favorite.
Yeah,
and this guy, I love this guy, Richie Scheinblum. So actually, I'd be reciting every time we'd watch this team. I'd be reciting the Goodfellas. Go get your effing Scheinblum. So that was that, and so now we go to the pitching. Game 1, Wade Hoyt versus Roger Nelson, and I didn't have the stats for the pitching on this.
Yeah, we just haven't gotten to that one. But
Game 2, Urban Shocker, Dick Drago, and Game 3.
And if I remember correctly, Roger Nelson pitched really well for the Royals.
He did. Sorry for not having the stats, but nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. We'll be playing at Municipal Stadium too.
Crudeness of this chart.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We got Municipal Stadium into the final 32.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't think that would have happened.
Yep, the last year it was in existence, or at least
I
it's
know.
Municipal Stadium. Yep.
That's not true. Oh, it is true because the Royals play there, right? This is before the Athletics.
This is the last year. The name of the Royal Stadium was built in this year.
Now we got another favorite underdog coming up. The 38 Yankees, of course. The Yankees.
Late 30s Yankees. I think a lot of people consider them one of the greatest teams. Our dynasties.
They got Gehrig and Gordon and DiMaggio. Jeez. The 78 Texas Rangers made it. I know Dave Lando's out there smiling.
This was Dave Lando, one of our friends from the Field of Dreams League.
He has that. Let's just face it. Let's put it this way: he has that Texas Rangers logo there as his Discord avatar. All right, so we have Bill Dickey for the Yankees, Lou Gehrig, Joe Gordon, Red Rolfe, Frank Frasetti, George Selkirk, Joe DiMaggio, and Tommy Henrich again. So,
and like I said before, this team went undefeated. One of the 3 teams to do it, and the first to do it.
Yep. And the Rangers surprised, and they have Bump Wills actually was MVP of the final series. Mike Hargrove hit well. Sundberg hit well. Lowenstein. This is the one. He hit 5 home runs. Yeah. So,
and then I think he didn't get a hit after like the third round or whatever. But the first 3 rounds, he was just killing it.
I think he had 5 home runs in after the first 3 rounds. I'm like, he's gonna break the record. I know he's gonna break. And you're right. He didn't get a hit the rest of the series. The rest of the bracket.
If he became the all-time home run leader,
oh my god! I was like, this guy's gonna
pay you money not to put that up there.
The guy, I would have been like, I don't know. Let me fudge that there. John Lowenstein with his afro and his glasses. That would have been funny. Anyway, Burke Campaneris, Al Oliver hit 474. Juan Beniquez and Bobby Bonds was on this team as well. So
Bobby
yeah,
made it, but no Barry.
yeah. And then we got for pitching matchups, we got Red Ruffing versus John Matlack. Fergie Jenkins and versus Lefty Gomez went. Look at 6-0, 5-0. They didn't even have a third.
They never
starter.
needed to use their third starter because they
Right.
kept winning every game. Yep.
Yep. And 34 Ks for Lefty Gomez. Doyle Alexander versus Spud Chandler. If
One of the
Spud
most
Chandler can get
dominant pitchers too in the tournament.
Yep.
Lefty Gomez.
Yep. All right, now we're back to the Orioles and the Cardinals again. So the 63 Cardinals made it, and the 64 Cardinals made it.
Yeah, that's the only franchise with back-to-back
Yep.
seasons.
And the 69 Orioles and the 71 Orioles both made it, so that's pretty close as well.
Yeah, there's one more.
So here we are with the same lineups: Elrod Hendricks, Powell, Johnson, Robinson, Belanger.
Yeah, it's pretty much rinse and repeat with that.
Rettenman's the only guy who's different on the starting lineup there.
Yeah,
Frank Robinson bashed as well. McCarver again hit 404. I mean, geez, in the other team he hit 415. So I mean, the guy can hit, I guess. He's not much of an announcer, but he could hit.
Yeah, he could talk.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't even like him doing that either, though. But,
no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like he was known.
Yeah, I know.
The gift of the gab.
Yep. And Dal Maxville, he didn't do too well hitting, but I think that's pretty much up for par for him. Ken Boyd did well. Dick Grote, Lou Brock actually 439, 4 stolen bases. Kurt Flood and Johnny Lewis. And then we got Mike Cuellar, Bob Gibson, game 1 starters. Bob Gibson 0.6 ERA, 5-0, just dominant.
This is kind of a fun, pitching wise. This is a fun pitching staff matchup.
Yeah, but if Cuellar stays with that ERA, that's not going to be much of a first game.
Yeah, but he just in a series, you don't know what's going to happen.
But you never know. They got Jim Palmer in the wings after that, and Kurt Simmons has been pretty well. I don't know if he lost in these two teams. Roger Craig actually. Roger Craig. Funny story about Roger Craig. Real quick. I just remember in 1987 Topps, I had a Roger Craig manager card in every pack. It felt like. So when I was a kid, I was opening up packs. There's always a Roger Craig card in there managing the Giants. All right. Next one, the 2022 Braves, which was the last bracket team, the 32nd team to the final team to join the final 32 against the 79 Pirates. Everybody loves that team. That's the We Are Family team.
That's
right?
the We Are Family team. The Orioles fans don't love that team.
No.
They knocked them off after being up with the 3-1 lead. But
they could. I guess they didn't feel the Orioles magic.
No, the Orioles magic got washed away. I think with all the rain that kept washing the games out, the magic went away.
Yeah, so we got Travis d'Arnaud. Matt Olson was the MVP for the Braves. Orlando Arcia. Now, this is all recent teams. And now, unfortunately, I will admit as well, I don't know a lot of these newer guys because I'm not really a big fan of them.
Yeah, this is when we got to this area is when I started learning about guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, but, I'm learning these guys almost like I'm learning dead ball guys. So, for the most part, I know some guys, but, I mean, there's a lot of guys I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Like, who's this effing guy? So, cross him off then. So Orlando Arcia, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Adam Duvall, Michael Harris II, and Ronald Acuna, who did not hit too well. I know him, and I thought he was a better hitter than that. But they could hit. I mean, they hit most of the other guys. They were hitting balls.
Yeah, it's a good team.
And honestly, there wasn't much representation from the 2020s or even the 20 teens. There was nothing. I mean, they didn't get very far.
Yeah, I think 23 Dodgers made it to the semifinals.
Yeah, that's about it.
Next best of the post 2020.
I guess the whole thing with openers and the starting pitchers only going 5
innings. We only have 4 years or 5 years if you count 2020.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I'm saying the style of play and the
and even if you go back to 2010, we have less teams that made it from that decade.
Yep. All right, for the Pirates, we got Ed Ott, Willie Stargell, monsters. He's MVP, 5 home runs. Phil Garner, RIP. Bill Madlock, Tim Foley, Bill Robinson, Omar Moreno, and Dave Parker. Cobra hit pretty well there as well. Now we go to the pitching matchups. Max Fried versus Bruce Keeson. John Candelaria, Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider had a very, very good games in there. I remember a few of those. I think he was some clutch games, some clutch wins.
He did, yeah.
And Kyle Wright against Bert Blyleven, Blyleven. All right. We're moving along, almost there. 1912 Giants against the 1982
These
Padres.
are two fun
Another
teams.
fun team. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
from both sides. The 12 Giants team is, right up there as one of the dominant teams in the tournament, at least statistically. And then the 82 Padres are the who kind of team.
Yep. Chief Myers, Fred, he had a great. He's one of the owners of the 3 home run game. I don't know if it was in this bracket.
It was in that. Yep.
Yeah, so 3 out of the 4 he hit in one game. Fred Merkel, Larry Doyle, Buck Herzog, Art Fletcher, Fred Snodgrass, Beals Becker, and Red Murray. And they're going to face off against the Padres with Terry Kennedy, Broderick Perkins. Terry Kennedy was MVP, actually. He hit really well. Broderick Perkins, never heard of that guy before. Tim Flannery, Luis Salazar, Gary Templeton, Gene Richards. Every time I see Gene Richards, I think it's Keith Richards. It's not really Keith Richards. Rupert Jones and Sixto Lezcano. So that's
I think
on
paper, this might be the weakest team actually on paper than even the Orioles. Even though
I know.
Seed wise, they're
in the I mean, look at the pitching. Even though Monty Fusco did well, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's 2 guys.
But you got to face Christy Mathewson, Tesoro, and Marquardt. That's a tough
yeah,
task.
Mathewson was pure Mathewson in that round for sure.
That's right. He's facing Tim Lawler. I remember him from the '86 Red Sox. He actually got a hit that year. Jeff Tesoro versus John, the Count of Monty Fusco. And Rube Marquardt versus Juan Eichelberger. It sounds like he was in.
And this San Diego team in the finals knocked off the 1956 Yankees.
Oh,
which was huge. Obviously, a huge upset. Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, again, there's so many brackets. It's hard to keep track of all that. I mean, we do our best with all this stuff, but
but I remember. I believe Juan Eichelberger pitched like a gem in that final series.
Yep. Here's the big red machine, the 75 Reds facing this 43 White Sox. Again, Pete Rose won the MVP with a 213 average. That's interesting.
But that was we don't know.
He did really bad during the bracket, but I guess he really
his final series he must have had the best stats in that final 3-game series.
Bench, Perez, Morgan, Rose, Concepcion, Foster, Geronimo, Ken Griffey. That's a heck of a team right there.
Yeah, heck of a lineup. See, a couple of guys don't hit, a couple other guys pick them up.
Yeah. Some of those guys, George Foster, could do better. And I mean, God, Pete Rose, you kind of figure he's probably gonna hit better than 213. So
and this is part of my hidden dynasty, the early 40s White Sox.
That
the Bash revealed that the dynasty that could have been maybe.
That's a good point. Now, Dave Lando is a frequent guest of ours. I mean, not a guest because we were just on our Discord.
Well, where he's on the Discords,
but he was very frequently on for as long as he could stay awake. But he's a big Chicago guy, and I swear to God, every time he was on there was always a White Sox or Cubs team playing, and more times than not, they actually did pretty well when he was watching. So maybe he'll be on there. We'll have him as a guest when the 43 White Sox are playing.
Yep.
So we'll have Tom Turner, Joe Kuehl, Dick Culler, Ralph Hodgkin, Luke Appling, Guy Cutright. I like that name. Thurman Tucker and Wally Moses, who was MVP.
Yeah,
a big home run,
game-winning home run. I don't know if it was not
walk-off.
I don't know if it was a walk-off, but it was the game-winning home run.
Game-winning,
like an eighth. I think it was an eighth. I have a write up on this team coming up too.
8 stolen bases as well.
Yep.
So, and the pitching matchup is Don Gullett, Orville Grove, Johnny Humphreys, Gary Nolan, Bill Dietrich, and Fred Norman. So, again, the White Sox.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the White Sox had a closer that did really well for them too. A long, funny name. I can't think of it, but
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I can't think of it right now either. I meant to put the closes on here, but I didn't have enough room.
It's more than enough information, I'm sure.
All right. Now we got this. I think we only have a couple more left. We have the 17 Giants and the 81 Astros. This will be an interesting one. We got Bill Raridan, Walter Hoke, Buck Herzog, Heine Zimmerman, Art Fletcher, George J. Burns, Benny Koff he's a fan favorite.
Another Field of Dreams.
Yep. Dave Robertson. This team, obviously, they look like they all can hit. They all hit at least 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
They're going to be facing up against the 81 Astros, who Cesar Cedeno was MVP.
This
Alan
is
Ashby.
a second John McGraw team to get in. I think McGraw.
Oh, that's 17 Giants. Yeah.
Yeah, as the manager, was the manager of the team, and McGraw, Frank Chance, and Earl Weaver are three managers I know that, or were managers of teams that were doubles in the finals.
Nice. So the Astros have Dickie Thon, Art Howe, Craig Reynolds, Jose Cruz, Tony Scott, and Terry Pools is most likely in their starting lineups. And the probable pitchers for game one will be Ferdy Shoot versus Nolan Ryan. That'll be fun. Nolan Ryan dominated for the Astros.
Yeah, that's what was the key to this Astros team, was the pitcher for sure. And Dave Smith, their closer, dominated too.
Exactly. Paul Parrott versus Bob Nepper, who also was. The ERA was a little off, but he won his games. And Don Sutton, who pitched fairly well against Slim Salih.
Yep. And this was the third team. I didn't say, I was just saving it just for the end because a good team for the strike era, but they were kind of a surprise to be one of the teams that went undefeated. The Union Astros. Yeah.
That's right. I keep forgetting they were a strike era team too. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like the 2020 strike.
Right.
But
and that brings us to our last matchup of the final 32, the Pittsburgh Pirates of 1927 versus the 1993 World Series winning Toronto Blue Jays. So that was good. It was nice to see the Toronto Blue Jays make it. I was happy that they won because they did win the World Series that year. And the memorable team for me, like I remember watching all that stuff. And it was just good to see a team north of the border win one. And, a team that didn't have a long storied franchise actually make it into the, along with the Royals. The Royals, I guess, the Royals too. I guess, that's even. But the Blue Jays, so it was nice to see them. So we have, for the Pirates, we have Johnny Gooch, Joe Harris. These guys hit pretty well. George Grantham, Pie Traynor, Glenn Wright, Kai Kyler is in his second team. And
that's right.
And also Lloyd and Paul Wainer. So Paul Wainer,
the one who just missed out on the all-time
batting average. Yeah. My mistake. Sorry, Paul. I had you on there. It's like
he had it until we added him.
Took it away.
And look at that performance by Ricky Henderson. That's one of your more dominant.
Oh, I know. Look at this
bracket performances.
Ricky Henderson, 423, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 18 runs scored. That was definitely worthy of MVP.
Yeah, that's one of the better bash performances.
And then look at even Roberto Alomar. 453, 5 stolen bases, 8 doubles. Joe Carter hit his numbers. Devon White had amazing numbers. His teams actually did really well. They ran, they hit, let's see if they pitched. Actually, this is a team that didn't have 2 of the starters. So this is funny. So here we go. Pitching is Ray Kramer versus Pat Henkin, Carmen Hill versus Juan Guzman. And then if a third game is necessary, Lee Meadows versus Dave Stewart. I like to call the Pirates here the spectacle pitchers because there's 2 out of the 3 guys have glasses on. So interesting. So so this is the anything this. This should be fun. All these series are going to be fun to play. And for good measure, I put the final 32 bracket. So just in case anybody wanted to see, I don't know if you can read it. It's kind of small. But these are the seedings.
And those all be posted. They've been posted on Facebook, and we'll post them all.
Yeah, we'll post them again.
You can go back and find them. Whatever.
But this shows you exactly who could face each other in the finals possibly. Like kind of did it so that the 2 best teams would be on either side, on the opposite side. So if it all worked out that way, that they would face each other in the finals. So, but yeah, so I don't know, Jamie. I think that's it.
That covers it. Yep. If people make it through or watch this later, hopefully they get interested and want to follow it more.
Yeah, let me just so I had a lot of fun. I hope people enjoyed just seeing the we will be, as I mentioned, we will be broadcasting every game of the bash. We will be playing out the whole game. So it's going to take a while, I think. This is going to be
we're still kind of working things out. We do want to because it's a lot of games, and invite different people to come on and join us at some point for sure.
Yep. Let me just stop sharing. Can you share screen? Let me just go. I have one more little outro thing to do here.
I was just going to say also too, like with the chat, if you asked us something and see something, it was just because this stuff was so visual. It's hard to, look at these things. And
Yeah, I couldn't see
So-
anybody in the chat.
So we weren't
because of-
purposely ignoring. It was just too much for the eyes to go two different ways.
Exactly. Good call, because I couldn't really look at because I'm sharing my screen with the
Yeah,
PowerPoint presentation. I have two screens, but one of them was always being used.
and we were using these slides as kind of to jog our memory.
Whoop, that's not what I want. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna, Jamie, I think we'll wrap this one up. We'll
Yeah, you
have,
can
well,
end it on better
you'll be
music.
seeing a lot more of us in the near future. So definitely, and I'm just gonna leave you with this little outro video, a little kind of what do you call it? A little nostalgia.
Yeah,
So Jamie, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All your
yeah,
work,
it's my
all your
pleasure.
help with this. I don't think you missed it. You were consistent missing. You haven't missed a game yet, and I look forward to having you on.
The biggest fan was,
And I look forward to
some of
having
the
other
most
people.
fun I followed.
Yeah, I look forward to having. Jamie and I have talked about inviting guests on as
definitely
to watch some of the games, talk baseball, talk about the teams,
different
or anything else.
perspectives, all
What?
that, Yep.
Yeah, in my game, the games are going to be open format, like as Beatles would say, chin wags, and we'll be chatting, and it'll be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll just see who wins the games, and we'll be able to hopefully we can experience with other people the final 32, and we'll see what happens. But okay, I'm going to leave you with this. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon.